Good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday's calendar with Duncan Wood and Katy Rickitt.
Here are this evening's main stories. But first tonight, it was a minor altercation in the street which ended in the cold-blooded murder of Bradford taxi driver Mohammed Basharat, gunned down by a masked killer who evaded justice for almost 2 decades. But today, justice caught up with Ricardo Linton, convicted of Mr Basharat's murder after he was extradited from the United States, where his trial was told he'd been convicted of another shooting with chilling hallmarks of his Bradford crime nearly 20 years ago. From Bradford Crown Court, Lisa Adlam reports. Next tonight, the frank and honest appraisal of life as a top athlete from Olympic diver Jack Law. The 26-year-old from Harrogate has opened up on the mental health struggles he went through for 2 years in the build-up to the Tokyo Games. Yes, it's got so bad for Jack that he came close to quitting the sport altogether. But after getting support from his family and a psychologist, he dived his way to a bronze medal in the 3-metre springboard.
Arif Ahmed spoke to Jack earlier today and started by asking him what it meant to now have a complete set of Olympic medals.
With Jack Law there speaking to Arif Ahmed, it's really good to know that he's got that enthusiasm, that he will now strive to go to the next Olympic, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and so much ahead of him as well.
Exactly.
So a short break and then right back to it by the sounds of it.
Completely. Now then, next to a call for more A-star students to consider ditching a degree to take up an apprenticeship.
The Chesterfield MP, Toby Perkins, criticised what he says is an inbuilt snobbishness by some families to further education. And he warned that too many teenagers going to university is actually causing huge levels of debt.
Well, his comments come after students achieved record high grades in this year's A-levels yesterday. David Hurst has more. Well, do stay with us, still to come on the programme this evening.
More of the day's news now, and an exclusion zone remains in place around the Billsdale transmitter in North Yorkshire after it caught fire yesterday. That's just one of several schemes the government is exploring in a £20 million project to achieve its target of net zero carbon emissions. Lauren Hall's been finding out more. Well, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millerini.
Thank you very much indeed. Time for our own sport now. And in football, the first round of the Carabao Cup got underway last night.
Harrogate Town were among 9 of our clubs due to take part, but they were forced to forfeit the game before a ball was even kicked because of the COVID outbreak.
Elsewhere, Sheffield United got their first win under their new manager, as Jonathan Brown now reports.
Now, the concept of a 4-day working week has become increasingly common over the last few years, especially recently with the pandemic showing just how much more flexible working practices really can be. But despite being highly successful in other countries, our government doesn't seem convinced quite yet. Well, it's certainly got you all talking at Facebook on Facebook at home. A lot of people saying this should have been done years ago. Katie Field made a balanced judgment, though. She says, yes, it would benefit productivity, but doesn't work for everyone. For example, carers and those in education, unless you send the kids home for a day as well.
Well, there's a thought. Let us know what you think about that. Facebook.com. Have a go at that one. Weather time, Mr Mitchell's here.
Yeah, must have noticed that. In fact, we're losing about 4 minutes of daylight.
Indeed, sadly, a fish was hurt in that incident. Now, just a reminder that the search is still on to find someone to represent our region at the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards. It's the glitzy the 13th. Ooh. Now, finally, the inspirational story of a 9-year-old boy from Chesterfield who's walked 1 million steps to raise money for the hospice that looked after his great-grandmother.
Oliver Walker has raised £500, which comes at a crucial time for Ashgate Hospice Care, who's found himself out of pocket to the tune of £3 million because of the pandemic. Adam Fowler reports.
Frankly, Oliver, I think that's the best advice we've had on calendar this year. Spot on, mate, spot on. Weather time, here's John.
Thanks, John. That's it from us. Our next update is at the slightly later time of 10 to 11.
The national and international stories are next with Lucrezia Millerini.
But for now, from the team here at Calendar, thanks ever so much for watching. We'll see you later on.
Good night.